Welcome to the postgame press conference for victorious Arkansas. Please silence your cell phones, no video recording. Up here with me, we have head coach Mike Neighbors and two stars from tonight's game, senior Malika Monk and Chelsea Dungee. A reminder about our format: coach will make an opening statement, then we will ask questions of the student athletes. Once the student athletes are dismissed, we'll ask questions of Coach Neighbors. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and if you could state your name and media affiliation, we'd appreciate it. As well, when you're addressing the student athletes, if you could ask your question and use their name, that helps out too. And with that, Coach, if you'd like to begin with an opening statement, please.
I think anytime you see a team celebrate like that without going back out to cut the nets down, it's a sign of respect for how good the team you beat was. And we know what South Carolina's done in this tournament for the last 4 years, and that's a sign of respect for how much they've done and the exposure they've had. But I'm really happy for our kids to be able to get a win like that. We've been playing really good basketball down the stretch without being able to be rewarded with wins, and to get 2 of them in a row like we have, really, really proud of them. And the effort today was tremendous. I've always said on the second day when you've played, it's your advantage in the first half, which we took advantage of, and then that advantage turns to their side in the second half, which they took control of with a 35-point quarter. But this time our kids answered back. At Arkansas, we didn't. We learned from that, and I'm really proud of our group for learning from our mistakes and starting again to peak and play our best basketball at the right time.
Questions now, please, for Malika and Chelsea.
Joel Fitzpatrick, Spartanburg Herald-Journal. Chelsea, you had 32 against this team about a month ago. What kind of confidence did that give you going into tonight?
I continue to have the same confidence in every game. I just take what's given.
Dick Cox with Cox Sports Broadcasting and Lindy Sports. Chelsea, you had 33 last night, 31 last night. I guess you're liking Greenville, South Carolina an awful lot right now, but how do you feel about the way you're playing in the tournament so far?
I felt that I've performed for my team to the best of my ability, and playing with these guys opens the floor up for me. So it's not only me, it's my teammates and what they do on the floor.
Questions for Coach. This is Paul Martin, Spartanburg Herald.
If we could wait and do Coach questions after the student athletes are done, please.
Question for Militia, please. Hi.
Malika.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
How satisfying a win is this for this program? I know Coach kind of spoke to it earlier, but does this feel potentially like a breakthrough win? Does this kind of put your team on the map, so to speak?
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, it really is a breakthrough. We really wanted revenge back from them whenever we played them during the conference. So, like, you know, to come out here and give maximum effort like last night and today, like, it's really a relief to go out there and give it our all, because, you know, that's what we're always capable of doing. And to play with a group of girls like this is really an amazing feeling.
Tyler Butler from Sports and Culture. Chelsea, they held you scoreless in the first quarter. What did you see from that moment on where you could attack and realize they couldn't stop you?
That's happened a couple games this season, but I know that it will come eventually, if that's in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So I don't press for shots. Just like I said earlier, I just take what's given and create.
Kennington Smith, Anderson, Independent Mail. Either Malika or Chelsea can answer this question, but in the first half, you were able to force long contested shots, forcing them down into the shot clock. What was working so well for your defense?
Just being active on defense. We knew that they're not really a great three-point shooting team, and, you know, for us to have our hands ready, stay in the gaps, and do what we're, you know, capable of doing, that's really allowed us to get them down into the shot clock, making them rush shots, do things out of their main. So, I mean, that really helped us out down the stretch of the game.
This is for both players. Did you really feel like that they were having trouble matching up with you, that you were successful shooting the ball from three and they couldn't stop you on penetration?
Yes, I think so. We pretty much got what we wanted the whole game, whether that be a drive and a kick, whether that be an open three. You know, we were comfortable. We just took what was given. Yeah.
I feel like we were able to match them offensively too, because we were able to get out in transition, and that really opened up the floodgates for us. And not only that, we were able to change up our defense, which, you know, frustrated them on the offensive end. So that really helped us out too.
Chelsea, you mentioned a few minutes ago
about your teammates. You had 3 of them that scored at least 14 tonight. Just talk about their performances.
That always makes me happy to see them succeed, and to see the ball go in the hole for them. That gets everyone going, and that's something that we all know that everyone's capable of doing, and everyone showed up tonight and played well as a team.
Do we have any more questions for our student athletes? We do.
The end of the third quarter, they bank in a 3 at the buzzer. Was there anything said right there? Because the crowd really got behind them. Did y'all say anything at the end of the quarter, to kind of hold off that charge and try to take the momentum back?
They had a lot of fans here because we're playing in South Carolina. But that bank-in 3 put them up by 1 point.
At 1 point wasn't really nothing because we came out and shot at 3 too, so it really was nothing. We just kept our composure.
I said something.
Well, Coach, we don't remember.
I'm too excited right now.
Remember? I said if we would have told you at the beginning of the game we were going to be in this position.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I didn't. I do say stuff
yes,
sometimes.
he did say something.
Not all the time. They had already talked, sorry.
Thank you for that clarification, Coach
Yeah, I want
Neighbors.
to get that on record.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Ladies, thank you. Go celebrate with your teammates. And now you can ask your hard-hitting questions to Coach Neighbors, sir. Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question.
Hi, Coach.
Hey.
Paul Martin, Sport Herald Journal.
Yeah, hey, Paul.
What did you tell your team coming into this game and to prepare them for this? They didn't look rattled at all in this moment.
I think we drew back on how well we'd played at our place. Again, we watched a video in the locker room of how well we had played, all the good things we did. And then yesterday we challenged the kids to do one thing out of the ordinary, one thing extraordinary, one thing great. And we knew today it was going to take 2 things per player. And, man, I'd have to go back and count, but I bet there was 5 or 6 things that each kid did that was out of the ordinary. You don't count on Alexis Tolfree to run out and block a shot at the 3-point line at the end of the game. Stuff like that. I think they're really hooked up. We've been working toward this since the beginning of the year. There's been a plan and a process, and they've really bought in and stayed hooked up. You lose, what did we lose, 7 out of 8, Jerry? You lose 7 out of the 8 going into this thing, and I think a lot of teams fold and don't come in here ready to play, and I think we went the other direction with that. So really proud of them, and we gained that from the last game with them. And then I think we withstood their runs. We withstood that shot going in at the buzzer and then come out and hit a 3 right off the bat. But I thought our kids did a really good job of taking the shots. We tell them to make them wrong, whatever they want to be in. They ran a box in 1. They ran a rhombus in 2, I think. I'm not sure other shapes that come. I didn't do too good in geometry. But there was a lot of defenses thrown at them, and we had a plan, and the kids just stayed in attack mode the entire time.
Coach, going back to the first time you saw Chelsea, was this games like this, did you see it right away in her?
Yeah, I used to watch them play during the summer. She played for a team in San Antonio. A friend of mine coaches it, and he does a great job. We talk all the time about dribble drive and just how he would move Chelsea around. And I was coaching at Washington, and that's a long way to go from home for her, being from Oklahoma. And then, we played them in the NCAA tournament. If you go back and look, Oklahoma came to Washington, and we played really well, and she played really well too. And it wasn't about 2 weeks later that I got the job at Arkansas, and I got a call from some people that she was looking to transfer. And when we got a release, she's prototypical. She's exactly what we look for, a versatile, hard matchup that's tough enough and gritty enough to guard a big on the other end and still be a mismatch problem. So she is the prototype for what we call a dragon. And I think she's just worked her tail off during her redshirt year. Y'all go back and pull up pictures of her from when she transferred and look at her now. She's transformed her body. I don't know. I don't put a number on how, but she just looks completely different with nutrition and sleep. Our strength and conditioning staff did a phenomenal job. And I don't want to tell you, I knew for sure, but, man, you wanted the chance to find out.
Coach, going back to that three-pointer at the end of the third quarter, what, if anything, do you say to your team to make sure that doesn't, kill the momentum, kill their spirits?
I took the blame for it because it was my fault. We went a little too early in the shot clock. That's my fault. I should have held it a little bit longer. I sometimes forget how fast Mal is. We went a little too early, and I'm yelling, don't foul, and that's the worst thing you can ever yell at that point because then you just stand there. and she banged it in. So we regrouped pretty fast. We went in. I said what I told them. I mean, again, when we got ready to get on that plane and head down here, if I would have told you we were going into the fourth quarter against, what are they ranked today? I don't know. 12, a top 15 team, down 1, would you take it? And they were like, yeah. So let's go. And then I thought we answered right back. We've hit a lot of big shots this week, timely.
Dick Cox with Cox Sports Broadcasting and Lindy Sports. Coach, talk about you came in as an underdog playing in a hostile place here in tournament, though. But you take the opening tap, you go down and hit a 3, and talk about how you never let the fans really have too many opportunities to get in the game today.
Well, I think that's what our pace does to people. Hey, they hit a 3 and celebrate. Well, guess what? We're coming right back at you. And if you take a second to celebrate, one of our rabbits, which is Taylor and Kiera, are running right past you for a layup. Or one of our locks is running down there and getting wide open for a 3. And then you got Mal bringing it up and IT bringing it up. So I think that's a big part of that. When they do score, you cannot let it affect you. If they make it, you got to get it. Chelsea is very underrated on her ability to get the ball out of the net on a made shot and get it in quick. It is hard to do, and she is phenomenal at it. So I think that was big. And then whenever they did get that momentum, that crowd got really loud at the end of the third quarter. It was really loud. But we answered it. And our kids practice very chaotic situations. We try to put them in as many situations in practice that will calm them down. And they were way calmer than I was. So I think that speaks to these veterans, Jalen Mason and Mal and Bailey and Raven and those guys that have been around. So I think it could have gone the other way right there. It could have really gone the other way in a hurry, but we didn't let it happen.
Tyler Butler from Sports Culture. Coach, can you speak about the performance of your starters who scored 87 out of your 95 points today?
Yeah, we don't go real deep, especially this time of the year. We start back in December working for March. We cut practices down to about an hour. We give the kids a second day off during SEC play starting in mid-January. We work on skills. So that's what allows you to come back and play your starters heavy minutes. And then you've got to have some kids like IT and Raven and Bailey accept a role. That's the hard part. Accept a role of going in there and playing 4 or 5 minutes just to give those kids, 3 or 4 minutes of break around a media timeout, around a dead ball, offense, defense, things like that. But I think we've got a group that's really bought in, and when you get that, you have a chance to pull off an upset.
Coach, you guys have Texas A&M up next. You guys recently played them. What can you draw from that experience to translate to a win as you did with South Carolina tonight?
We got to play the winner of this next one, right?
Yeah. That game's going on right now, so we don't know who they're playing next.
If it happens to be A&M, obviously we did. We had a great game with Auburn as well. Whoever we face, we know we'll have, unless it's Auburn, Auburn's had to play the same number of games as we have. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. I thought it was right. I think our group right now is more concerned with what we're about. Our scouting reports are very minimal because they know and they remember. We'd honor, whoever you're playing in the semis, is playing well. You don't get to the semifinals of this tournament and not be playing well. This is a harder tournament to win than go to the Final Four. It's harder because you play 3 games in 3 days or 4 in 4 days, and that you play a game and you get a day off, and you play a game and you get to rest for a week, and then you play a game. And I think the SEC tournament and most any postseason tournament's way harder to win than an NCAA tournament type format. So we're made for it because of the way we start practicing for it, and we always do try to peak in March. And I think that's been a characteristic of our teams, and these kids have really bought into it. I think we've got the best strength and conditioning coach in the country. And I think we've got the best athletic trainer in the country, and they buy into that too. And we start it in March, and in December, and we're very diligent about it for this day. And as a result, I think it's what carries us when these times arise. We're ready for it.
Do we have any more questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach Neighbors.
Thank you.